Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Senior Airman Bernadette Jacinto, your narrator for today's event. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Change of Command ceremony for the 627 Force Support Squadron. On behalf of the Commander, 627th Air Base Group, Colonel Christopher Hall, we would like to thank you for attending today's Change of Command ceremony, where Lieutenant Colonel Brianna Rodriguez will relinquish command of the 627 Force Support Squadron to Major Rena Sangren. As a reminder, military and civilian personnel should render appropriate honors during the singing of the national anthem. Civilians should hold their hand over their heart, and military members are to stand at attention during the singing of the national anthem and the presentation of the colors. Thank you. The Change of Command ceremony has a rich military history dating back to the reign of Frederick the Great of Prussia during the 18th century. At that time, organizational flags were developed with color arrangements and symbols unique to each unit. To this flag and its commander, the soldiers of the unit would dedicate their loyalty and trust. When a change of command was to take place, the flag was passed to the individual assuming command in front of the unit, so all could witness the new leader assuming their official position. The colors are the command's symbol of authority, representing the responsibilities to the organization and reside wherever the commander resides. Senior Master Sergeant Derek Thompson serves as the custodian of the colors and as the enlisted airman spokesman to the commander. When the ceremony begins, Senior Master Sergeant Thompson will present the colors to Colonel Hall. Colonel Hall will then present the colors and all they represent to the new commander, Major Sangren, who assumes responsibility of command from Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the entrance of the official party, the presentation of the colors, the singing of the national anthem by Senior Airman Celine Castro, and the invocation by Chaplain Timothy Dahl.
Sir, I present the 627 Force Support Squadron.
Present the colors.
And I colors. Hench, hunt, hort, huh! Forward, hort! Colors, ho! Present, ho!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say that the star-spangled banner yet waved o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Hort, ho!
Chaplain Dahl will now offer the invocation.
If it is within your tradition, would you please pray with me at this time? Gracious King of Kings and Lord of Hosts, we come before you today on the occasion of the 627th Force Support Squadron Change of Command. As the guidon passes between Lieutenant Colonel Brianna Rodriguez and Major Rena Sangren, we are thankful. We are thankful for great leadership that in turn enables an even greater squadron. In this case, the 627th Force Support Squadron is a unique squadron due to its joint nature and the multiplicity of specialized jobs that find anchor in its expansive harbor. This requires a squadron commander to have a deep and broad knowledge base, contagious enthusiasm for the mission, inner strength and grit, and a sincere care for the airmen. And frankly, Colonel Rodriguez has shown this and so much more during her tenure as our commander. Thank you for Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez, and bless her and her family as they head to their next assignment. Now, it is abundantly clear that Major Sangren has these same attributes in spades. We only ask that you would multiply these outstanding characteristics so that our squadron can climb to even greater heights of success. Deepen and expand her knowledge. Grow her love for our airmen. Strengthen her spirit for what's to come. Give her an even greater enthusiasm for the mission. And of course, spark the fire within us as we follow her leadership into the sunrise of a new tomorrow. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Senior Mancastro and Chaplain Dahl. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the official party for today's ceremony. The presiding officer for today's ceremony, Deputy Commander, Joint Base Garrison Lewis McCord, and Commander, 627th Air Base Group, Colonel Christopher E. Hall, accompanied by his wife, Jay. The outgoing commander, 627 Force Support Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Brianna Rodriguez, accompanied by her husband, Jose, and children, Emmanuel, Amaya, and Isaiah. The incoming commander, 627 Force Support Squadron, Major Rena Sangren, accompanied by her husband, Lieutenant Colonel Trent Greenwell, her father, Commander David Sangren, U.S. Navy retired, her mother Margie, her brother Dove Sangren and wife Joni Simmons, her sister and brother-in-law Esther and Nathan Davey, her sister and brother-in-law Alexandra and Ryan McLeod, and her cousin Rebecca White. I would now like to introduce some of our distinguished guests and special visitors from Joint Base Lewis McChord and the surrounding area with us for today's ceremony. Please hold your applause until all guests have been introduced. Colonel David Morales, Vice Commander, 62nd Airlift Wing. Chief Master Sergeant Timothy Hodgen, Command Chief, 62nd Airlift Wing. Colonel Philip Lamb, Commander, Joint Base Garrison Lewis McChord. Colonel Kent Park, Incoming Commander, Joint Base Garrison Lewis McChord. Sergeant Major Kirk Carlton, Acting Command Sergeant Major, Joint Base Garrison Lewis McChord. Chief Master Sergeant John Marquez, Senior Enlisted Advisor, Joint Base Lewis McChord, and Senior Enlisted Leader, 627th Air Base Group. Ms. Veronica Morse, Director, Directorate of Family, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation, Joint Base Lewis McChord. Colonel Ricardo Camel, Vice Commander, Western Air Defense Sector. Colonel Ty Joyce, Commander, 62nd Maintenance Group. Chief Master Sergeant Derek Hirschfield, Senior Enlisted Leader, 62nd Maintenance Group. Colonel Karen Bowman, 62nd Medical Squadron. And Ms. Amanda Williams, Director of Staff, 62nd Airlift Wing. Finally, we would like to welcome all squadron commanders, chiefs, senior enlisted leaders, first sergeants, along with family members and special friends of Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez and Major Sangren. On behalf of the 627 Force Support Squadron, thank you all for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the presiding officer for today's ceremony, the commander, 627th Air Base Group, Colonel Christopher Hall.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody doing today? All right, fantastic. It's so great to see everyone out here today to help us celebrate in this very momentous occasion. I'd like to offer my thanks and my gratitude to all the distinguished visitors that are here. I'm not going to go through the whole list over again, but thank you all for being here and being a part of this ceremony, being in the room. But I do want to specifically thank, the Rodriguez family for being here, especially Isaiah. He's holding it down right now. So we look forward to, continuing to build our relationship. And to the Sangren family, thanks so much for being here. As we talked about in the back room, it's very important to have that nucleus around you, and you being here is tremendously important to her as she takes command of this tremendous squadron. To all the other men and women of the FSS squadron, the Force Support Squadron, thank you so much for doing this and being here and being part of it. Thanks for pulling together the formation. It takes a team, right, to pull an event off like this. So thanks, Captain Wright, to you and your team and the protocol team for making this happen. And then for the national anthem and the chaplain doing the invocation. Thank you so much for being a part of this. So I'm going to start off and talk a little bit about the Spartans. I mean, it's a little bit different. Every time I do these speeches, I try to do something different. So you'll have to tell me after this is over if it actually went over pretty well. But the FSS Spartans, right? That's their mantra. That's their call sign. And when you think about Sparta, Sparta was an ancient warrior society that reached its heights of power when the Spartans defeated the Athenians in the Peloponnesian War. Spartan culture was centered on loyalty, duty, discipline, and endurance. The Spartans of the Force Support Squadron embody these characteristics every day as they complete their mission to ensure every member here can successfully complete theirs. Their professionalism and high performance enables smooth transitions in times of change and stress, easing the in-processing, the deployments, the permanent change of stations for every airman stationed here at Joint Base Lewis McChord. Their service to not only active duty, but they help service the reservists, the veterans, the civilians, and all of the family members here in this local community. And they prove their expertise in a wide variety of tasks that they are assigned to them as the squadron executes. They are not only organized for information, but they are also experts in fitness, in dining, vast array of opportunities afforded to us to improve the morale, the resiliency, and the welfare of all individuals here on this installation, proving themselves to be very, very integral to the Air Base Group mission, as well as the Joint Base mission. Today, we take a moment to bid farewell to Brianna, Jose, Manny, Amaya, and as I called out already, their newest addition, Isaiah, as they depart for D.C. and the maze which is known as the Pentagon. I would like to take a little bit of time to talk about some of the amazing accomplishments. And I can't go through each and every one of them because there's just too many to account for. But I do want to pick out a few of them that we can actually walk through and talk a little bit about. So under your leadership there, Brianna, you've achieved a lot of great feats, right? Triple-hatted, right? Squadron commander, deputy for the MWR, deputy for the DHR, and you even have those touch points with the AFSBN, right? Because you run the dining facility here on McChord Field. So she's led her team across 3 Air Force and Army directorates to do some great things here for JBLM. Her team secured $20,000 on an annual basis to make sure that airmen have the ability to recharge themselves once they return from a deployment, or for service members' families to be able to partake in doing things to kind of help them remain connected while that service member is deployed. That's a huge feat that we achieved, and that you were able to pull off and bring to this installation. We're the only installation of a non-Air Force-led joint base that has this capability, and it was all a testament to your leadership. The other thing, she revamped the dining facility operations, right? We went to midnight meals. I remember when she came to me and she said, "Hey, sir, I want to do midnight meals." I said, "We don't already do midnight meals?" I thought that was just a thing. And she was like, "I think it would be much better in our ability to support all of our service members and specifically the airmen that are on shift work, working late nights, and to give them the opportunity to be able to get a good meal." And so she moved forward out on that, her and her team, and they just pushed forward to make this happen. Another one of those great feats, right, here's something that we just recently did as the Air Force transitions to its new deployment model, the AFORGEN model. Her team was integral in the deployment and the reception and redeployment of the first AFORGEN deployment out of JBLM when they supported the 8th Airlift Squadron. That was a huge, huge accomplishment, a lot of lessons learned that we've learned from that piece that we're going to instill and make better as we push forward to make this process better to ensure that we can project combat power into the AOR. Another one of these great feats was that she took my challenge, right, with the bowling alley that's here on McCord Field. So that bowling alley hasn't been open for a while, and I asked her to reimagine what that bowling alley could do in order to provide a service to the airmen here on McCord Field. And her team went to work, and they reimagined that space. And what they did was transform that space into a family space that allows families here on McCord Field and across the Joint Base, because it's not just limited to us, to be able to have a place to go and to connect with their families, especially during those warm months here when we don't have AC on most of the installation. But she did that, and she took care of business, and she got after transforming that space. And now we're seeing that it is transforming into where we're including family support, planning, and opportunities in that space, which is hugely effective and beneficial to all family and service members. Additionally, she also oversees what I call the best honor guard in America. And you guys have seen a little bit of the glimpse of that honor guard today, and they've been very, very busy today. This is the second change of command, and then I just left the retirement ceremony where that honor guard has been crushing it all day. And that team is Air Mobility Command's, it covers Air Mobility Command's second largest area of responsibility. They support 3 national cemeteries spanning 47 counties, covering over 75,000 square miles, and averaging just short of 1,000 military funeral honor ceremonies each year. And that's just the funeral honors. That's not the day-to-day, ceremonies that we do on this installation or other day-to-day ceremonies that they go out. But she's got the oversight and the touch points on that to make sure that that team is always successful. And with all of those things that I've mentioned, right, that all culminates into her team earning the Major General Eugene L. Eubanks Award for the best small force support squadron in AMC. And it cemented her personally as being named the Air Force's, Headquarters Air Force's Lieutenant General Norm Leasy Award recipient, which is an award presented to a sitting FSS commander for his or her outstanding contribution to the installation, displaying expertise and leadership qualities. And if I was to sum that up, that really means she is the best FSS commander in the Air Force. And that's a huge accomplishment. Bree, I know none of these accomplishments were easy. We kind of rode this roller coaster together for the last 2 years. So I saw your ups, I saw your downs, and I know that your heart was always in it. You had to navigate through differing service cultures, policies and procedures, having a baby, being a mom, being a wife, and varying personalities to include mine, to find ways to bridge the gaps. So thank you, Bree, for your outstanding dedication and leadership, your willingness to reach across the aisle to help find winning solutions. And to Jose, Manny, Amaya, and Isaiah for your support to the Joint Base, as well as the Air Base Group and the Spartans. We really appreciate your commitment and what you've brought to the team in helping support her so that she could be as good as she's been. So we pray for safe travels for all of you as you depart to Washington State, and hope that and pray that you achieve all of the best in the future endeavors. So as I transition to Major Sangren, I'd like to say welcome back. Major Reina Sangren was, or better yet, Lieutenant Colonel Select Sangren. Congratulations. And her spouse, Lieutenant Colonel Trent Greenwell, and her family. I mean, her family is in here deep, so that's pretty awesome. We thank you for being here and welcome you as she comes in to assume command of the 627 Force Support Squadron. Raina is no stranger to the Pacific Northwest. She was here previously stationed when it was the 62nd Services Squadron. And I'm excited to work with you as you take command of this team. These Spartans are incredible. They're going to do amazing things. I know that you're going to give them the opportunity to kind of run, but they still need your leadership and your guidance. So I just want to make sure, to extend our welcome to Joint Base Lewis McChord and the 627th Air Base Group, and welcome to the Spartan family, where the best serves the best. ABG, always bridging gaps. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of the Meritorious Service Medal to Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez. Attention to orders. The Meritorious Service Medal 3rd Oak Leaf Cluster is presented to Lieutenant Colonel Brianna L. Rodriguez for meritorious service 9 July 2021 to 21 June 2023. Lieutenant Colonel Brianna L. Rodriguez distinguished herself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 627 Force Support Squadron, Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. During this period, Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez enabled mobilization of forces for the Air Force's largest ever non-combatant evacuation operation, deploying 51 airmen within 48 hours in direct support to 123 humanitarian missions, airlifting 124,000 Afghans to safety. In addition, she led the Personnel Reliability Assurance Program for the Department of Defense's Seoul Nuclear Airlift Wing, enabling 40 missions and the highest possible grade on the biannual Nuclear Surety Inspection. Furthermore, she resolved the lack of programming for airmen and garnered the Commander Air Mobility Command's advocacy to change Air Force Services Center policy, securing $20,000 for 460 deployed airmen and families to recharge for resiliency as the first non-Air Force-led joint base to receive funds. Finally, Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez's leadership resulted in Air Mobility Command's 2022 Force Support Squadron Command Support Team of the Year, Air Mobility Command's 2022 Major General Eugene L. Eubank Award for the Small Force Support Squadron, and her selection as the 2022 Headquarters Air Force Lieutenant General Norm Leslie Award recipient. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Rodriguez reflect great credit upon herself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the presentation of the Army Commendation Medal from Colonel Philip Lamb. Attention to orders. The Army Commendation Medal is presented to Lieutenant Colonel Brianna L. Rodriguez for meritorious service, June 2021 to June 2023. This is to certify that the Secretary of the Army has awarded the Army Commendation Medal to Lieutenant Colonel Brianna L. Rodriguez for outstanding meritorious achievement while serving as Deputy Director, Family, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation Directorate, and Deputy Director, Human Resources Directorate for Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington, from July 2021 to June 2023. Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez distinguished herself by aligning emerging priorities from supported Army and Air Force senior aligning emerging priorities from supported Army and Air Force senior service component commanders while providing installation support to 155,000 personnel. She established the Joint Bases Only indoor playground and transitioned a failing operation to a profitable Army-Air Force exchange service concessionaire and expedited a $150,000 dining facility renovation. Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez's superior performance and dedication reflects great credit upon her, the Installation Management Command, and the United States Army. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We will now hear from our outgoing commander, Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez.
Okay, make sure my notes are good. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Wow, 2 years has really flown by. Colonel Morales, Colonel Lamb, Colonel Park, Colonel Hall, group commanders, squadron commanders, chief shirts, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule for attending today's ceremony. Senior Airman Castro, thank you so much for your national anthem. Beautiful as always. To the best honor guard in the business, Colonel Hall was not lying. Sharp, crisp, and motionless is their motto, and they did just that today. Chaplain Dahl, thank you for the invocation. I really appreciate all you've done for FSS over the past 2 years, for you checking in on us and just seeing how it's going. I'll miss you popping by, and it's been great sharing our love of Blue Bell ice cream. Thanks for finding it in Washington, and for running into you at band concerts. I want to take a minute to recognize those who put this together. Thank you, Captain Wright, for leading the charge and organizing today. A lot of time and effort went into the ceremony, and I appreciate you and the entire team. Shipley, thanks for proffering. Jacinto, thank you for narrating. Barbarina, Appleby, thank you for being our ushers. And to the crew in the back, we have like Nixon and the entire food service team. The setup looks amazing, as always. The cake looks great, Comintige. We have Armstead and Boyd over there holding down the fort. And the formation looks amazing. Thank you. Speaking of the formation, Captain Cardenas, please put the formation at ease. Stretch out a little bit. Okay. Colonel Hall, sir, thank you for the trust and confidence that you displayed in me to command. Your leadership over the past 2 years, for giving me the space to lead and the grace when I had to own my mistakes. You've always provided top cover, supported our initiatives to sustain and improve service delivery. You've lent a listening ear when I needed to vent and provide mentorship when I needed guidance. I appreciate your full support with my maternity leave and allowing my team to have their opportunity to lead during that time. Having that precious time with my family was very important. I wish you, Jay, and the entire Hall family the best as you head to Colorado. Mrs. Hall, I think she took baby duty. Thank you. Mrs. Hall, thank you for coming today. I always enjoyed your company, and I always appreciated the support that you provided to FSS. You'll be missed. Colonel Morales and the 62nd Airlift Wing team, thank you for supporting my airmen all the time. Your presence meant a lot to me, and the support you provided over the past 2 years has not gone unnoticed. Colonel Lamb, thank you for allowing FSS airmen to serve in key positions on your staff, whether it's your command team, protocol, boss. This provided them valuable insight on how they fit into the joint mission. Thank you for rolling up your sleeves and for serving meals with the airmen at the DFAC. Even though you showed up in your Class A's the first year, won't hold you to it. But I appreciate you also getting the CG out and never passing up an opportunity to award my airmen, whether it was coins, certificates of appreciation, or Army Commendation medals. Your support has been tremendous, so thank you. V, thank you for being an amazing teammate over the past 2 years. You have a tough job balancing competing priorities with limited resources, and you have to rebuild these relationships every 2 years, so I really don't envy you. I admire your passion for our service members, and while we may not always have seen eye to eye, you fielded all of my questions and ideas with patience, and you provided me context when I needed it. I've learned so much from you and the entire MWR team over the past 2 years, and I extend my gratitude to all of them. Heather and the DHR team. I see Heather out there. Mr. Smith, Michelle came all the way from Germany. Thank you. Sammy and our Army civilians, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure working alongside you. Heather, you made a huge difference in FSS operations, and you came into us kicking and screaming because we didn't have a PSM, and you jumped right in and you solved our problem, right? And I can't thank you enough for that. You dealt with our desire to have AdCon over our embedded Army civilians, so we won on that as well. You supported our effort for MOA Change 10 and the ISF realignment to return MilPers to the Air Force, all of which will have long-term positive effects for JBLM. So you and your team did that, and I thank you for that. To the Forward Force Sustainment Battalion and Mr. Hampson, thank you for your partnership over the past 2 years with the DFAC operations. It's been a pleasure. So my fellow squadron commanders in the crowd, thank you for being amazing peers, for having open comms with my squadron, and I always appreciated how you trusted in us to work through your tough issues and to take care of your airmen. So my ABG squadron commanders specifically, thanks for your support, advice, and laughs over the past 2 years. I could not have imagined a better group of leaders to share this experience with. Derek, I think I bugged you the most. And I've always valued your advice, which is why I called you multiple times. We dealt with a lot of the same complex issues together, and I really appreciate your friendship and your mentorship. You and your team were always there, always coming in clutch, whether it was the functional fitness room, the DFAC renovation, the tree lighting ceremony, you name it, you and your team found a way to yes. So thank you for that. Miki. Share a passion for our airmen, and that's what I love about you. I will miss our roundtables, and I know we always kept Colonel Hall and the other squadron commanders entertained through multiple discussions, so I'll miss you. Billy's meme game was on point. I will miss your sense of humor. You're the leader who rallied us all together, and I appreciate you, and I hope all your cars get to the UK and that you keep in touch. Christina, our time together was shorter, but you jumped right in and you fit right in with all of us. I think you got the hang of the joint base thing faster than we did when we first got here. I'm sad we didn't have more time together, so best of luck to you and your team during the second year. It's rare that we have 3 female commanders that are in one group, so it's been amazing leading next to you guys. Jose. This is getting harder as I go. Thank you for being the best key spouse ever. No, seriously, I couldn't have gotten through these 2 years without you. Thank you for always being there, for showing up to our events, whether it's sporting events, being our biggest cheerleader, cookouts, and sharing your love of cooking with the squadron. They always appreciated a good brisket. I admire how you were able to connect with our airmen so easily. You were my biggest supporter, and I love you very much. To my kids, this is where you have to rush, okay? Thank you both so much. I'm so super proud of you. Another assignment down and 2 more school years of straight A's. I mean, I can't be more proud of you all. I'm thankful we get to go back to the East Coast near our family and friends. And then I'm also leaving here with a new addition, baby Isaiah, and I couldn't imagine my life without him now. So leaving with the command baby. Okay, to my triad. The Air Force did me a solid with my command team, for sure. I had two amazing SCLs, Chief Vasquez and Chief Fallbush, and the best first sergeant a commander could ask for is CMS Sergeant Thompson. Thank you all for sharing this journey with me, for serving as trusted advisors, and most importantly, for taking care of our airmen. I will cherish our time together. Each of you made me a better person and a better leader. I had an amazing front office team who helped keep me on track. Major Barrett, who's already departed, she crushed her time as OPSO and as interim commander, and flight leadership teams who always got after it, including some amazing captains. To my entire FSS team, the best small FSS in AMC. I'm beyond humbled and honored that I had the opportunity to serve as your commander. Command has been an experience that I will forever cherish, and to put it in simpler terms, while this has been the hardest job I've had, it's also the hardest job that I have to leave. Thank you for welcoming my family and I with open arms, for getting back to the basics with me, and for buying into my priorities, airman mission and culture. I am proud of the work that you put in daily and for what you accomplished over the past 2 years. Did we always get it right? No. Were there mistakes? Of course. But we learned and got through these times as a team. You've established yourself as credible and reliable. CSAF charged the force to accelerate, change, or lose, and you did it. We launched systems and programs without guidance, were told to figure it out, build a plane while flying it, and guess what? You did it. You launched 7 Air Force level talent management initiatives. You ensured the reliability of our #1 mission on this installation, supporting the nation's sole squadron with the nuclear mission. And this is the only thing that Air Force and Army senior leaders can agree on this joint base. You laid the best to rest in casualty, mortuary, and honor guard. You were lauded as the best IPR IMSC ever inspected. You flawlessly deployed and redeployed airmen under the new AFRIGIM model. You supported the largest NEO during the closure of operations in Afghanistan. You focused on readiness and the future fight, resulting in the best FSS Silver Flag rate fill for 2022. You overhauled the sponsorship, assignment, SAS step, and retention programs, launched Spartan University, added a midnight meal for shift workers and monthly specialty meals, added a functional fitness room, secured $20,000 per year in resiliency funds for our airmen, and $17,000 in reimbursements from the Air Force Services Agency. It was you who led the first Team Accord Homefront Hero event. You stepped up to lead the first ever Juneteenth celebration on JBLM. You led the first Team Accord quarterly award ceremony post-COVID. You stepped up to fill the lifeguard shortage to keep the McCord pool open, which is not in your job jar. It was you who did all of these things. The accolades and accomplishments read today, they're not mine, they're yours. And I hope that you always remember what you do is important and directly affects the livelihood of our airmen and their families. My final message to you: know your purpose. Understand how you fit into the mission and enable the generation of combat power from this installation and every installation that you will go to. You may not be providing intel or weather reports, flying planes, turning wrenches, fueling jets, defending the airfield, keeping comms up and running, or repairing runways, but you take care of people. And without people, none of that stuff happens, period. Without you, combat power isn't generated from this power projection platform. So thank you for taking care of airmen, for executing the mission, and for building a culture and climate that we were all proud to be a part of. I'm leaving here a better officer and leader. You've inspired me, motivated me, and pushed me to be better. I leave here full of gratitude and humility, and I will miss you all dearly. So with that, I'm about to pass the guidon on to another amazing leader who I'm confident will take you to new heights. Give her the same energy that you've given me over the past 2 years. Rena, welcome back to JBLM and to the best FSS you could ask for. It was great getting to know you. We made some improvements, but there's still plenty of work to be done. As you immerse, I'm sure you will find things, programs, and processes that require attention, but I'm confident that you are the right leader at the right time and the right place to move the ball further down the field, and I wish you all the best in command. Thank you all.
Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez, the airman of the 627 Force Support Squadron, would like to render you a final salute as our commander.
Squadron, stand touch. Present, talk. Order, talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command ceremony.
Post to order.
Attention to orders. By order of the Secretary of the Air Force and under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-509, Major Rena Sangren is appointed commander of the 627 Force Support Squadron, Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. Special Order Number 23-05, effective 21 June 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We will now hear from our incoming commander, Major Rena Sangren.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming and celebrating with us today. This is really something special. It's more even so than I expected. It's really great. Colonel Morales, thank you for joining us from the 62nd Airlift Wing and for supporting the group and our mission here together. Colonel Lamb, thank you so much for supporting my predecessor, Colonel Rodriguez, and Colonel Hall in all of our work here at Joint Base Lewis McChord. And Colonel Park, thank you for coming, and I really look forward to working with you and being great teammates. And, Sergeant Major Carlton, thank you also for coming and showing your support. And Chief Marquez, thank you also for being here. I look forward to working with you soon. And Colonel Hall, thank you so much for a great ceremony so far today, and for everyone that participated in making this come to fruition. Colonel Rodriguez already named everyone by name, and I wouldn't have a hope and prayer in doing that, but I'm really grateful for all your work. I know how much work and effort this kind of thing takes, and I really appreciate all of it. And to all the other colonels and chiefs and shirts and fellow squadron commanders, thank you so much for coming and for showing your support on this momentous day. And as Colonel Hall said, my family did roll in deep. Many flew all the way across the country, and I had friends that came down from Seattle. My Duwamish River Community Coalition friends are here, and my South Park friends are here. And along with my family, they've really taught me what it means to be part of a community and how to take care of each other. And I really love that my Air Force family and my Seattle family are coming together here on this day. To support me and all of us in everything that we do here. I just think it's really incredible. Most importantly, out of my family, though, is my husband, Trent, Lieutenant Colonel Trent Greenwell, who has been the best partner any Air Force officer could ask for, and I'm just really grateful in this team sport that you're on my team. Thank you so much. So today is June 21st, which means it's the summer solstice. It's the longest day of the year, but it also signifies new beginnings, so I think it's the perfect day for a change of command. Colonel Rodriguez's time is sunsetting here, but as you heard, she has done an amazing job leading this team to award-winning status and is really leaving Joint Base Lewis McChord better than she found it. Thank you so much for setting such a great example, and I really hope that I'll do everything I can to carry on your legacy. So it is a new start, but as Colonel Hall said, it is a familiar place. I actually grew up on Whidbey Island, where my dad flew the A-6 Intruder for the Navy, so then naturally I joined the Air Force. And this was my first duty station. So I worked for 4 years in that building across the street, Building 100, where Master Sergeant Brent Kearns, who is here with us today, Mr. Dennis Staples, and Kathy the General Whipple, all were here trying to keep me in line, trying and failing most days. But we made it through, and I made it back, and that's pretty amazing. I can't believe that I get to be back here on this team at home as a commander. It really is a dream come true. When the command list was published, people came out of the woodwork to give me advice. And some was pretty good advice, like whatever interests your boss should fascinate you. Or drive your own car and sleep with your own spouse. All excellent advice. Some advice I received, though, frequently that I'm not so sure about. And it was, in particular, never show your fear. And while I think that's excellent advice when facing your enemy, I'm not so sure it is when you're leading a team or working on a team. Because to me, if you're not afraid when you're in this position, you either don't appreciate the responsibility of what it is, you do understand the significance and you just don't care, or you think you know everything and you have everything figured out. And none of those things are true about me. I am honored and humbled by this position. I care deeply, and the only thing that I'm absolutely sure about is that I don't know everything. But I am ready to be afraid and do it anyway, and to be part of this great team, and luckily the Air Force and the military, I'm really getting used to the lexicon of the joint, you know, airmen, soldiers, Marines. We're all here together. It's going to be great. I got to, you know, just rework my vocabulary a little bit, but I'll get there. And we're all going to do it together because nobody does anything meaningful alone. And to the men and women of the 627th Force Support Squadron, as I just said, but I feel like I want to say it again, I am truly honored and humbled to be named your leader on this day, and will do everything I can to take us to the next level and to support you in the way that you deserve in the best mission. We in the Force Support Squadron and really in the Air Base Group have the best mission because it's all about taking care of each other. And with that, thank you all again for coming to celebrate on this momentous occasion. And as we say in AMC, let's roll.
Thank you, Major Sandgren. Ma'am, if you will remain center stage, the airmen of the 627 Force Support Squadron would like to render you your first salute as our commander.
Squadron, 10, cut. Present, time. Order, time.
Thank you, Major Sandgren. We welcome you and your family to the 627 Force Support Squadron. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join us in singing the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party.
Off with one